Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Geeknd Live after a week off. We had a week off, which wasn't planned, wasn't even by choice, to be honest. Some of you know that I caught COVID-19. Have you heard of it? Yeah, I got it. It finally caught up with me after, 2 years of dodging that mofo. But yeah, I was like a COVID nurse for a friend for 8 or 9 days, and then it got me. And to be honest, I only felt really sick for a few days, but we're talking like a week on now, or at least just over a week since symptoms started, and I'm still super tired all the time, super tired, but generally I feel okay. So hopefully the fatigue will vanish soon enough. But anyway, I hope you are well. Apologies again for missing last week, but it is good to be back. And hello to David. Hello there. The first hello there. David, a.k.a. Jones Capone. Also, Glenn, formerly the Geeky Hippie, is on the road, but trying to keep track. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Jane Flakes, good to see you. And I need to reply to your message regarding Toast, the new Toast. As well, with the Star Wars references there. We need to talk about that. Peter as well over in the Netherlands. Hope you're doing well, mate. And Clays is here as well as Caleb. And yes, I have been spending much time in my little back to tank here, having all sorts of flashbacks about previous streams. Walk_B just saw the episode. So, yeah, very good timing, because we are going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 3, and we are going to talk spoilers as well. So, very good timing. Speaking of timing, Chad, the Stopwatch Campbell, is in the house, who also has his podcast covering the Book of Boba Fett as well. Star Wars lunch special, right, Chad? Yeah. And they're very short episodes. The idea is that you can listen to them in your lunch break. And hello there to Anders Lay. We're going to chat a bit more, Anders. We had a little bit of chat yesterday, didn't we? Regarding a certain actor who popped up in the Star Wars universe just this week. And also, Yellyren is here. Glad to see you're feeling better. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Definitely overall feeling much, much better. The really nasty symptoms did only last for 2 or 3 days. So I'm thinking I probably got Omicron, but the fatigue, the tiredness, man, I can't remember the last time I was awake beyond 11 p.m. Well, it was before I got COVID, basically. I'm sleeping a lot and feeling very tired. Power Droid Girl, good to see you here. Yeah, we're back. And Rob Eaton. Rob, I need to reply to your message on Patreon as well. I'm glad that you finally got the Eric Bauersfeld video there that you wanted. I hope you're all doing well. Just for a moment there, forgot why I was here. But I'm here to chat with you about the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 3. Quick note on Chapter 2, because as mentioned already, there was not an episode in terms of this stream for that week. I really enjoyed it. And I said jokingly on a YouTube community post thing that it was the best episode yet. I still think, now we're an extra episode older, I still think it is the best episode yet. Also good to see David Milano here. And also, green is not a creative color. My friend, you did make it in time. We haven't even started talking about the Book of Boba yet. So yeah, we're going to focus mostly on Chapter 3. And we'll start now. So a final reminder that spoilers are coming, okay? I want to know what you guys thought of Chapter 3 as well. So the chat is probably not going to be a safe space either if you're trying to avoid spoilers, because this is an open discussion. Speaking of people that are not watching it, Simon D, hope you're doing well. Yeah, you probably should duck out if you're going to watch it, although I don't think there's too much that can ruin this chapter that we're gonna say. But anyway, if you haven't seen it yet and you are planning at some point to see it, Simon, you probably should duck out, my friends. But we'll be back to normal service soon. And it's really annoyed me, this getting COVID at this particular time. I mean, I assume I was gonna get it at some point anyway, but I had so many plans to sort of try and, from a genuine place, try and use the Book of Boba Fett to elevate the channel a little bit as well, because it's a trending topic and what have you. But simple tasks have become very difficult to perform. And making videos is not a simple task. Right, everybody. My mate was not a rancor, though he certainly did look like a rancor when he was in the midst of the real heavy symptoms of his COVID bout. I think I looked like a rancor for 2 days as well. I was definitely sedated like one, and still am at times. All right, so yeah, chapter 3. First of all, I'm going to say I did not expect to see Boba brawling in his boxer shorts. That was a surprise, as they say, and that interrupted, or the reason he was in his boxers was because his daydreaming was interrupted, wasn't it, by the Black Wookiee? And I know they said his name, and they made it quite easy to say, because the spelling of it certainly made it a little bit more confusing to my simple mind, at least. And now I can't remember how they were pronouncing it. Was it Cranston? Can we just say Cranston? Now I'm thinking of Bryan Cranston. But no, I'm talking about the Wookiee, the Black Wookiee. I felt like the fight was a bit staged. I mean, it was staged, obviously, but you know what I mean? A bit stilted and a little bit jarring at times. And it took me back to that chapter 1 duel out in the open with the hologram, you know, the sort of the shields. It took me back to that a little bit. I didn't think the action there was particularly great. However, Boba brawling in his boxer shorts against a big Black Wookiee was still not something I expected to see, and therefore was cool in its own kind of way. And the interruption to the flashback was pretty well done and pretty surprising, because I'd buckled up, you know, I'd buckled up for another long ass dream, because that's how the first 2 episodes went. We spent so little time in real time. So to be literally thrusted out of that flashback dream was pretty surprising. And even though I have enjoyed the flashbacks mostly, I know for some people have found them quite boring. From what I'm seeing, I've personally enjoyed them mostly, but I'm happy now that it seems anyway, or at least based on chapter 3, we might be spending more time in real time, because clearly there's a story to be told there, right? I mean, I hope there is. I do think it's a bit of a shame that the Tuscans' story in flashback form, and presumably in future form, is over. And I also thought it was a bit of a shame that they went down the route of brutally slaughtering them. That was kind of predictable, and I think a bit of a shame. If it had to happen, hold it off a little bit longer maybe, or just don't make it happen. I was expecting at some point Boba to have to call upon them in real time to help him out. And I quite like the idea of that, but I'm not a professional film or television maker, and probably for good reason. Although a note I made was that I don't remember seeing the main warrior one in the mix, the dead mix of the bodies. I've only had one viewing, so I might be wrong now. I don't know if any of you spotted her. So could she perhaps still show up? Because I don't think we're done with the flashbacks, but could she show up therefore in another flashback, or could she show up in real time to potentially help Boba out? So yeah, it was therefore a bit of a surprising start, and it felt quite refreshing not to be in full kind of flashback narrative mode for the rest of the episode. Another surprise, 2 surprises really. Danny Trejo. I was super happy to see him, and I know Anders. This is what I was referring to earlier. Anders also was very happy to see him, and I assume he's now the permanent Rancor keeper, although he's clearly going to play second fiddle to Big Boba, because there was a bond there, wasn't there? But yeah, I hope he is going to be sticking around as the permanent Rancor keeper. That palace feels too lonely. They need more bodies in there. And I want to see that baby blub before the season's out. And the Rancor was cool. I feel like they just wanted an excuse to have a Rancor, any excuse to have a Rancor. They hinted towards it a few times with the trick of the cage now being empty, the pit now being empty. The thing that I thought was a bit weird was after the big setup of the twins last week, that after one failed murder attempt, they just turned up, apologized, made their excuses, and literally left the planet. and now apparently not the big Boba Bat of this series. So that was sort of weird. And for a moment, disappointing, but now I'm interested to see exactly where this goes now, and have we really seen the last of them. Now, I'm going to pop over to the chat for a bit. There's some of my thoughts. Now, of course, the biker gang needs to be discussed. I'm going to come on to that in a moment, but let me just pop over to the chat to see what's going on. What's everybody saying? Simon D was the last one I saw. No, was your mate a Rancor from Peter was the last one I saw. I wish you could like mark the messages you've seen on this thing. Jane, I mean, I've still got my downtime with COVID, and I'm going to confess that I was rewatching Ozark because the new season starts at the end of January, and I very little memory of what's going on there. So I did a bit of a rewatch binge because also I didn't want to watch anything new. The excuses are coming out now. And for anyone wondering what I'm talking about here, I haven't seen Rebels, all right? I haven't seen Rebels, and I've been threatening to for quite some time. Or more like, many of you have been threatening me that if I don't see Rebels soon, then I don't know what you'll do, unsubscribe or something. But yeah, I'm you know when you're like maybe hungover or sick and you're sleepy, and sleeping's good, but you don't want to watch something new because then you miss something, right? So I was in one of those sort of rewatching almost comas, I suppose. So I rewatched Ozark, all of them. Was it 3 seasons? I think it's season 4 coming out. Anyway, season 4 or whichever season the new one is coming out at the end of this month. New backer. Yeah, let's just call him New Backer. Got a good bite of pork shoulder in the episode. Anders, we're calling him New Backer now. I like it, and it's much easier for me to say. Boba wears boxers and robes, which threw me. Yeah, he threw a robe on, quite literally, once the battle was over. And Chad, you said this yesterday to me that now, boxers and robes, I think, are canon. Boxer shorts are canon in Star Wars. I guess robes have always been canon, Jedi robes at least, but this was more of like a dressing gown, wasn't it? He looked very cozy. He is definitely living the life in that palace. Yeah, given the underwear, Boba is clearly not a Scot. He's clearly not. What are you talking about here, Chad? It's spelled what? Hang on, it's pronounced Chris Santa. Like Christopher Santa. Really? Chris Santa? Chris Santa. Ah, okay, cool, man. But I still prefer New Backer. Sorry. I need to adjust the canon. And a question from Rob. Excuse me. How did Bigfoot get into Boba's bedroom anyway? Yeah, because at this point, he'd employed the gang, the biker gang. Were they sleeping on the job? Because they seem pretty on it later on, and we are going to talk about the biker gang. Don't worry. And does Fennec just sleep in that full costume of hers? I think so. But also, she seems pretty on it, and her role is so far pretty limited. She's just there for the odd sort of like whip. She's there to sort of ask if she can kill somebody, and usually it gets a no from Boba. You know, she's pretty underused at the moment. So was she sleeping? And was she sleeping in the costume? Was she sleeping on the job? Or is she perhaps not as loyal to Boba as we think? Did she let New Backer in? I don't know. Yeah, Chad, in terms of the Tuscan Raiders, I thought it was weird how they were slaughtered so fast as well. It was a very Star Wars thing to do. Yeah, they've done it before. They'll probably do it again now. But I found it weird as well, and a little bit disappointing. But is the main warrior one dead or alive? That's the question that not even John Bon Jovi has the answer to. And Chad also feels, as Rob said, that Chris Santa sneaking into the palace makes very little sense. Yeah, you know, he's not exactly discreet, is he, by his very nature? Rob Heaton, somehow the whole Mandalorian covert got slaughtered in Mando. Yeah, as well. Yeah. It's happened many times before. Like, lay off the Tuscans, man. And Peter, I agree. Boba must ride that Rancor. I feel like that's going to happen, isn't it? That's going to happen. Chad also on the twins. I really hope they come back in some form because I genuinely don't get the point of them without more. I absolutely agree. Rob Heaton, if we accept what the mayor says, then the twins have sent 2 assassination attempts upon Boba. if you include the Nightwind Assassins too. Yeah, but the mayor's dodgy, man, isn't he? The mayor's dodgy. I mean, I think the Hutts are probably pretty dodgy too. I don't trust anybody here right now, not even you, Rob Heaton. But yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. It's a good point. That's what it is. But I don't trust that mayor, man. And the mayor obviously has a bigger role in this story. The new backer, Jane Flakes. As a biker, I would call them a scooter gang. I feel like that's. I feel like you're sort of, I don't know, palming them off a little bit there, Jane. Yeah. Okay. Speaking of which, the bikers. I don't really have a problem with it, but I see that there's a lot of discussion, should I say, should I be polite, on the internet about these bikers. I thought they were kind of fun. Brad Snoke described the chase as a bit corny, and I agree with that. But I thought it was kind of fun. And one of them, the one with the eye, was just so London, just so water and mate. That made me a little smile, at least, But I know Chad, because Chad, we had some messages, didn't we? I know you didn't particularly like the fact that they, were desperate for money, stealing water or what have you. And then at the same time, they have these shiny, scooters to keep Jane Flakes happy. And also, glitzy kind of cyborg eyes. And they all look very neat. There's no scars and, they don't look particularly dirty. So that kind of was a little bit off. And I know it took some people out, or stylistically, it took some people out of the episode or the relevant scenes. But Power Droid Girl made a good point as well, who I know is in the chat or was earlier. She said, while I think of it, I know there's a lot of derision for the new biker gang's aesthetic, but I get an American graffiti vibe from it, which of course comes from the maker himself, George Lucas. Heard of him? So yeah, I know there's a lot of people debating them online, and some even saying it just was not Star Wars, but I don't agree with that. It was weird. And when I first saw, because I was late to watching it yesterday, so when I saw some screen grabs of people that people have put on Twitter, I literally, with like the biker gang, as Boba's marching up the steps to see the mayor, and the bikes are sort of around him, I literally thought somebody had photoshopped the Power Rangers in or something. I genuinely did not believe this was an actual screen grab from the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 3. So it was weird, but I don't have a problem with it. Let's see where they go with that. Let me pop over to... Chad said, I said, all those bikes look like Crosley record players. Fennec and Boba still need a bonding scene. That's from Peter. Yeah, I suppose at some point she's going to make it into the flashbacks, right? Because I always assumed the flashbacks would take us right into the Mandalorian, right before Boba gets his armor back. So at some point, he's going to be the one to heal her. So we may get that bonding scene in flashback form. May not, though. Not promising anything, man. Power Droid Girl, Favreau sure is subverting expectations with this series, isn't he? Yeah, because I still really don't feel we have a sense of the direction the real-time story is taking us in. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm a bit slow to this, but yeah, I agree with you there, though. And another one from Chad here. I need to listen to your podcast, Chad, because I still don't know if you're actually if you're into these bikers or not. Skywalker Sound, hope you're doing well, my friend. Popping in to say hi. I haven't watched the episode yet, so I'll see you next time. Yeah, we are talking spoilers, my friend. So get out of here. Do one, but come back when you've seen it. All right. And I hope you're doing well. Chad, if you can afford fancy bikes and robotic surgery, you can afford essentials, like water. They just don't know how to budget. Doesn't mean you can steal. Yeah, I mean, I don't sympathize with their plight. I'll give you that. And Clay's says as well, yes, the bikers were very American graffiti. What cybernetic enhancement would you spring for Jamie? Yeah, what would you? Who are we asking, Rob? But at the moment, just like, let me stay awake for the majority of a day like I used to be able to, please. Yeah, I'm sleeping too much in a moment from this COVID thing. So I don't know if it needs to be any sort of cyborg enhancement to my body to allow for this, but give me something. There's other things you could give me as well, which might be quite useful. according to other people in my life. Anyway, Dave Milano, they're a mad gang, literally. Vespers and all their money goes to their clothes. Yeah, you know what? Like when I was at uni and I got like my student like grant loan through and stuff, I didn't spend the money on books and papers and pens and all that. I spent the money on clothes and alcohol, you know? Like, I can relate to all of their poor financial choices. I don't have a student loan anymore. I mean, I still have it because I haven't paid it off. But even now, I don't particularly make the best financial choices, like having this really good microphone for a YouTube channel that gets no views. But anyway, Jane Flakes, they were mad scooters. Yes, we're not allowed to call them bikers. I'm sorry, Jane. Especially the one covered in mirrors. They even look like modern scooters, a real feel of a modern Vespa. So far, this show seems like it would be better if binged. Chad, you said this, I think, after episode 1, to be honest. I think you were predicting after episode 1 that this could well be a series that's better binged. So clearly you're sticking to that the more that you see. Glenn the Geeky Hippie is here for the reels now. Good to see you, my friend. And thank you. Yeah, definitely getting better. That was just for effect, of course. All right, everybody. I think we're getting close to the point where I want your scores on the doors. So you might remember, if you were here for our Chapter 1 discussion, David Milano, who was in the chat at least a few minutes ago, created these wonderful things for me to use. All right. So if I don't like an episode, I'm going to play this. You ready? There we go. I've got to take Glenn off. Glenn was on the screen there getting a cheeky cameo. So if I don't like it, I do that. If it's just an all right episode, yeah, I'm going to play this. If I think it was a good one, I'll play this. Oh, yeah. But COVID has riddled my body and riddled my plans for covering the Book of Boba Fett so far. I was going to use those clips in my kind of quick, spoiler-free, pre-recorded video reviews, of which none have happened yet because of being a COVID nurse and then being a COVID patient. So I am still doing what I always used to do in the streams, where I'll give a score out of 10. So I want a score out of 10 from you guys as well. So I'm gonna use a clip because I love a clip. And I'm also going to give the score out of 10. Star Wars Meg is here as well. Hope you're doing well, Meg. I was going to reach out to you to see if you wanted to come on and be a guest, but I don't think I've mentioned this enough. I've had COVID, still have COVID, so I've not quite been on the Book of Boba Fett full coverage, whatever the word would be. I'm not quite been on full cylinders, but yeah. Hence, not even having a guest this week, and not even doing a stream last week. But yeah, if you want to be a guest, let's talk. Always happy to have you on. So let's get the scores in out of 10. I'm first of all going to play the clip, the relevant clip for this chapter. Now, I played the good clip for chapter 1, and that was more because I felt like it was a good start, a good enough start, not a great start. It didn't deserve the meh clip or the no clip, but I think I gave it 7 out of 10, didn't I? Chad, you were on with me. I think we both gave it 7 out of 10, which for me is very high because, you know, I consider 5 to be average, and average is okay. I mean, I'm average in every aspect of my life, so that's okay, you know. But chapter 2, I certainly would have given the Fett Yeah clip to. And I feel like that was a much stronger episode than chapter 1. I would give chapter 2 out of 10 and 8 out of 10. And I'm going to play the Fett Yeah clip. For this episode, I am going to score it out of 10 in a moment, but I'm going to play it. This one. Yeah. So it's got like the average clip, and I'm giving it a score of 7 out of 10, which is the same that I gave chapter 1, which got actually the better clip, right? But the reason is, again, I just felt that chapter 1 was just a good setup, not a spectacular setup, but it was an intriguing setup. It answered a few questions, took me to places I wasn't expecting, and yeah, but chapter 3, I don't know. I feel like it is a weaker episode than chapter 1. But no, I don't know. But anyway, I'm giving it the mayor clip because I've done the mayor clip, and you can't go back on the mayor clip once the mayor clip's been played. But I'm going to give. I'm torn between a 6.5 and a 7. All right, because now I think more about chapter 1. Is it fair to really give chapter 3 the same score? I'm going to come back to that in a moment. Let's look at some of your scores. All right. Okay, this is for chapter 3 from Glenn. 7 out of 10. Newbacker. We're calling him Newbacker. All right. Gives this episode a 7 out of 10 from this geeky hippie Jedi Sentinel. Yeah, the YouTuber formerly known as Glenn the Geeky Hippie. Power Droid Girl, 7 out of 10. Not as good as chapter 2, which was a solid 9 out of 10, but still good. Thanks, Chad. Hey to you. Jane Flakes, I give this a damn good 9 out of 12. The score dropped for for mods being good guys. Sorry, for mods being good guys and bikers being bad guys again. Yeah. I'm sorry, Jane. I'm sorry, but those mods on their scooters, scooters. See, I'm learning they're scooters and not bikers. So what do you say, scooter riders? Because you're a biker. Do you call someone a scooter? You don't call someone a scooter, do you? Glenn has no need for a vaccine for Glenn. He just smoked weed, just too much weed. So there was no room left for COVID to get in him. 7 out of 10 from chat, who I think, okay, you're tying it with the first one. Chad, I don't know your score for chapter 2, but I think you enjoyed chapter 2 more. Excuse me. There were some epic shots that saved it. The zoom out when he sees the camp destroyed was fantastic. Yeah, that was beautiful. I'm with you on that. Meg gives chapter 3 an 8 out of 10. Yeah, please do email me. I'm absolutely useless at the moment. So I'll probably take 3 or 4 days to reply because I'll be asleep. But what about next week if you're around this time next week? But yeah, drop me an email and we'll organize it there. Chad has clarified that episode 2, chapter 2, got a 9 out of 10 from him. Rob Heaton, meanwhile, the lowest score we've had. 4 out of 10. A weak episode for me, but I mostly don't understand what Boba's up to. Yeah, so in some ways, maybe your score for this episode could go up further down the line when we get a better idea of what the hell's going on right now. I do agree with you in many respects there, actually. It was a chapter 2, 9 out of 10 for Clay's, 7 out of 10 for chapter 3. Chat adds, I'm still kind of waiting to see what the show is about. So, this is kind of what Rob said as well. Crime families and syndicates, which is cool, but does it justify Boba being alive? I don't know yet. Should be added there. What we got? 4 episodes remaining. Peter, I was thinking 7 out of 10 for episode 3. Episode 2 is a bit better and much longer. It was a longer one, wasn't it? This was more in line with episode 1, wasn't it? 6.75, I think Glenn is now saying. Oh, you're saying I should go 6.75. Good point, man. Good point. Because if it's got the better clip played for it, it shouldn't have the same score as chapter 1. I'm not thinking this through very well. Yeah, I think I preferred chapter 1, which sticks at a 7 for me. 8 for chapter 2. 6.75 for chapter 3. Thank you, Glenn. Caleb, I'd say 8 out of 10. The moments that really stood out, like Newbacker's fight and the Rancor scenes. Mind you, I gave 1 a 9 out of 10 and 2 a 10 out of 10. So this is your lowest score so far, Caleb. Yeah, I was a bit disappointed by the Newbacker fight. It just felt, like I said before, a little bit too staged, overly staged. But maybe I need a rewatch there because I was mostly just like, I don't know, just very confused by seeing Boba brawling in his boxer shorts, to be honest. So now that's sunk in, maybe I need to give it a rewatch. But I agree, the Rancor scenes were lovely. A scooterer, is that what you call them? A scooterer. Chad said chapter 2 is a 9 out of 10. Didn't you say it already? Or maybe a 9.5 out of 10. That's pretty high. That's pretty high. But then we did have a 10 from Caleb. Oh, scooterist. Okay, scooterist is what you say. A scooterist. It's not as cool as a biker, is it? You love me now, Jane, for saying that. It was that Newbacker jump scare that thrilled me. Yeah, no, it was well done. The way the literal interruption of our viewing pleasure in flashback form was really well done. I just felt the actual fight itself, for me, was a little bit jarring. And Chad adds that it was also very dark, especially in 4K. It was hard to even know exactly what was happening. Good evening to you, Merv. Hope you're doing well. Very good, guys. The Mos Espa gang. Very good. I hope you're doing well, guys, mate. And Jane has confirmed that she does love me now. Thank you, Jane. So, Jane, in regards to Toast of Tinseltown, how are you watching it where you are? Because, like, if I was in the UK, I'd be watching it on, I think it's on the BBC in the UK now. But I'm sure Toast used to be Channel 4. I used to watch it on 4 on demand. Sorry. But I can't access the BBC iPlayer here abroad. It's really complicated. I don't have a VPN before anyone else says it. And yeah, so I haven't seen any of Toast of London yet. And I don't think this is a spoiler for anyone that cares. Sorry, Toast of Tinseltown, because it's in the trailer. But it was quite interesting that you said to me that the Star Wars role that he gets ends up being a voice role. So, you know, how much of what actually happened to Matt Berry has influenced the Toast of Tinseltown storyline, or is it just a coincidence? Is quite interesting. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. A big fan of Toast. I thought they were doing a movie. I never even realized we were getting another series so soon. I thought they were doing a movie. I thought that was the next thing. Toast of Tinseltown. Yeah, so it's Stephen Toast, which is Matt Berry's character. The original series is called Toast of London. And in the new series, he's gone to Hollywood, basically. So Toast of Tinseltown. And I have to say, his droid is now sounding more and more Matt Berry-like. I think it's because he's getting more and more dialogue, perhaps. But in the first chapter, and I'm a big Matt Berry fan, I love his vocal performances. But I didn't know it was him until I saw his name in the credits after chapter 1. There wasn't, for me, it wasn't that obvious, but now maybe now just because I know, but it seems to be getting more and more. Oh yeah, that is definitely Matt Berry now voicing that droid. And as Jane, I think, mentioned, or Power Droid Girl, you mentioned that Richard Ayoade has also voiced the droid in The Mandalorian. So, you know, we are getting that IT crowd reunion in the Star Wars galaxy. Right, everybody. I think that's it. So if you have any final thoughts that are very vital to being broadcast to the world, then drop them in the chat right now. Merv makes a massively good point here. Who doesn't love a massive Wookiee? I do love a massive Wookiee. I love a Wookiee of all sizes, to be honest, but they would mostly tend to be massive, don't they? Yeah, anyway, I'll be back this time next week, and hopefully I'll have organized something. I'll have a guest and actually have prepared for the stream, and hopefully not be coughing spluttering throughout the stream. But thank you all for joining me. And I hope you all have a great week. And I will be back. And check out Chad's podcast. If you want more Book of Boba Fett discussion, check out Chad's podcast, Star Wars Lunch Special Podcast. If you go back to the last stream for chapter 1 on this YouTube channel, you'll actually find a link to it. Because Chad was a guest a few weeks ago. David, yes, smash that bloody like button, everybody. And yeah, Caleb, I'm going to talk to Jane. I'm going to talk to Meg, and we'll get it sorted. There's Jane. That's why I said Jane. Thank you, Rob, and thank you, everybody. And take care, whatever you're doing. And we will do this again this time next week for the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 4. All right, so I am now clicking end broadcast, which means we got to keep waving. Got to keep waving till the broadcast actually ends.